Heavy-duty leather footwear or dielectric footwear, or both, provide some arc flash protection to the feet and shall be used in all exposures greater than 4 cals. Footwear with an arc rating is not available. Normally the employee's feet are less exposed than the hands or head due to the proximity of most tasks. However, employees should not wear footwear made from lightweight materials or from materials that are flammable or may melt and drip. In most cases, heavy-duty leather work shoes are satisfactory. Dielectric overshoes, as shown in this picture, may be used over heavy-duty footwear. Clothing and other apparel, such as hard hat liners and hairnets made from materials that do not meet the requirements regarding melting or made from materials that do not meet the flammability requirements, shall not be permitted to be worn. Apparel made from materials that are not arc rated must not be worn. For instance, hairnets, ear warmers, or head covers could melt onto an employee's hair and the head unless they are made of arc-rated material. Arc-rated apparel should be inspected before each use. Work clothing or arc flash suits that are contaminated or damaged to the extent that their protective qualities are impaired shall not be used. Protective items that become contaminated with grease, oil, or flammable liquids or combustible materials shall not be used. Any flammable soiling or contamination on the surface of the arc-rated clothing can reduce or even void the arc rating of the apparel. The clothing must also be free from tears, cuts, or rips. Garments that are not suitable for use must be removed from service. If corrections can be made, such as laundering or repair, using the appropriate techniques, the garment can be returned to service. Otherwise, the garment should be disposed of. The manufacturer's laundry care instructions are a required element of the labeling of any arc flash garment. Improper laundering or failure to follow the instruction provided by the manufacturer may diminish the longevity of the product's useful life and reduce the product's protective qualities. Arc-rated apparel shall be stored in a manner that prevents physical damage. Damage from moisture, dust, or other deteriorating agents, or contamination from flammable or combustible materials. Use Table 130.7C15A to identify arc flash PPE category for AC systems, or Table 130.7C15B to identify arc flash PPE category for DC systems. Once PPE categories have been identified, use Table 130.7C15C to list the requirements for PPE based on the arc flash PPE categories 1 through 4. This clothing and equipment shall be used when working within the arc flash boundary. Employees shall use insulated tools or handling equipment, or both, when working inside the restricted approach boundary of exposed energized electrical conductors or circuit parts where tools or handling equipment might make unintentional contact. Insulated tools shall be protected from damage to the insulating material. Insulated tools shall be rated for the voltages on which they are used. Insulating tools and equipment shall be inspected prior to each use. The inspection shall look for damage to the insulation or damage that can limit the tool from performing its intended function or could increase the potential for an incident. For example, a damaged tip on a screwdriver. The term insulated means that the tool's manufacturer has assigned a voltage rating to the insulating material. Only tools with a defined voltage rating are considered to be insulated. It is important for employees to look at the markings on the tool before using it. Tools with unmarked rubber grips and plastic handles must not be used in lieu of a properly rated tool. Fuse or fuse holder handling equipment insulated for the circuit voltage shall be used to remove or install a fuse if the fuse terminals are energized. Replacing fuses live is energized work and, as such, must be justified. Before excavation starts, where there exists a reasonable possibility of contacting electrical lines or equipment, the employer shall take the necessary steps to contact the appropriate owners or authorities to identify and mark the location of the electrical lines or equipment. When it has been determined that a reasonable possibility of contacting electrical lines and equipment exists, appropriate safe work practices and PPE shall be used during the excavation. Marking the location of underground conductors and equipment will help to minimize the possibility of accidental contact with buried electrical conductors during excavation. All underground utilities, including gas, electricity, telephone, and cable TV companies, are members of 811. The call center notifies utility companies of excavation work near their underground installations and directs them to mark the appropriate location of underground lines, pipes, and cables. There is a legal obligation in some states for a call to be made to 811 prior to excavation work.